Fantastic. I'm now going to hand over to Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, everyone. For anyone who has been on a call with me before together, please just excuse me today. I'm not feeling so well. I didn't want to cancel today, but I'm not feeling 100%, so I might take a few breaks. But I'm really pleased at how many people have attended. Thank you for taking your time to listen to us today. And hopefully you can take a few pointers away and how to really get engagement from your seniors in the business and how you can promote wellbeing. So I want to just share my slides. Just give me a little second. And as Ella says, please feel free to use the chat box. Yeah. So hopefully you can see my screen. Ella, can you just confirm that?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
Just make it big.
Okay. There we go. A bit better, yeah?
Yeah, and maybe on presentation mode?
Yeah. Hold on. Presenting a bit better. So as I think, if it's not moved anywhere. Does that look okay though? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's the icon on the top left. The one that's got like a square with a little play button in the middle. Is it? Yeah, not that one. Over to the right. Over to the right. Oh, no, back to the left.
Right. No, this is my left, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, go for it. Where am I going?
That one. It's the one with the, if you go to where the purple disc is.
Yeah.
And then go right a little bit. Right a little bit.
Yeah.
Right a little bit. That one.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
We're on.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So going back a bit. Hold on. I don't think I like this way. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so we'll start off by how you're feeling yourself with your mental health today. So if you're comfortable doing so, how are you feeling out of 10 would be the first thing. And you can put it in the chat box in 2 words and how you're feeling. So I'll start off. I'm probably a 5 out of 10 today. And from home, I'm anxious. And from work, I'm engaged. So if you feel comfortable doing so, put that into the chat box. Now, the reason we do that at our meetings is to start always talking about wellbeing. We might do the 1 to 10, or we may do the words. At that point, we can then check in with each other. Somebody will always check in on how people are doing. Now, we do have a lot of people that will say fine, okay, and that's fine as well. But some gives people the opportunity, if they want to see how they're feeling, that they can, and they can be open and honest about that. Okay, so where are we at with wellbeing and how can you promote that in your business? So I think the first thing is to make it a company objective. So for our business, wellbeing is a company objective. It's on our overall business strategy, and every manager has a company objective to do with wellbeing. So every quarter they have to be involved with something to do with people and wellbeing and how to improve that in the business. So that's an idea for you to take away as a first point. We do believe that it retains and recruits the best people if you're looking after your wellbeing culture. Now, we've tried to look at our figures. Now, obviously, we've had COVID there. However, we have went back a bit, and we can see, if we take away other reasons why people have left, we can see that we've had reduced, we've improved retention by 28% and reduced absenteeism by 12%. Now, that's a rough figure, but something our data manager is going to be working more closely on. So it's something you could go away and look at. The first thing I would say, though, is, do you have a stress risk assessment in your business? And if you have you seen it? Is it active in your business? So for us at Filshill, we actually put it in our induction and we update it. Now, we look at it if somebody says they've got a stress at work issue, but we also look at it every 2 years as well as a minimum. Now, for anybody that, I apologise for people that do know this, and that this isn't new for them. However, for anybody that doesn't, if you have someone who doesn't come forward about having stress at work, a good way is having mental health first aiders or somebody trained in mental health. They don't have to have the full programme, but they could have something on spotting signs of stress. There's lots of courses for that. So you could go to your business management and say that, because if you don't and somebody goes off with stress, they put a company claim in, or they are off sick with stress at work, you have to report that to local authority under HSE. Now, not a lot of people know that, not a lot of business leaders know that, but actually it's a legal requirement for you to look at the well-being and making sure that people are not stressed in the workplace. Now, well-being is a bigger bracket. We all know it's things at home as well and external factors, but it's a good way when you're trying to promote, like, how can we tell if somebody's stressed in general? How can we tell, is it work, is it not work? Having that in your risk, having that risk assessment, maybe on a portal for colleagues or in their induction, and have that active in your business. You could put control measures in. So one of the takeaways I would say is, if you don't have one or you've not seen it, ask to see it. And it's really important that that's in your business. And it's a good way to say, look, to your management, we've got some issues here. We've had so many people that have got stress issues. We need to put something else in place. And that could maybe help you get something to do with well-being, be it, as I say, mental health or a training course. We do believe that happy colleagues are more engaged and more productive, and we have seen that. We're in a new building just now, so that's got some elements to it. However, when people feel looked after, it's really known that they are more productive, and we definitely see that. So since October 2020, as a business, we have had 256 interventions of support. Now, that means that we've helped 256 people in our business. That might be them themselves. It could be their family members. So we are the Filshill family. We do look at support for both our colleagues and their families. That's a figure that we are particularly proud of. We're not saying it to say, look at us. We're saying it to say 256 people have needed help. How many people are you helping in your business? Do you know? And it's confidential, I know. So some of you might know, some of you might not. However, are we getting that support, or is it a tick box? And if it's a tick box, there's no point. You might be legal in certain ways if nothing comes up, but actually it's so important that you're actually following through. Now, if your seniors are interested in awards, now we have been fortunate to win awards for wellbeing, and we actually were proud of that, which was great, but that wasn't why we do it. But for some businesses and some leaders, they love to win awards. If you do a lot in wellbeing, or even some initiatives, you've got a good chance of winning awards, because people love to see you looking after your people, and wellbeing is really up there just now. So it's just something, again, you can say, look, we could do this, we could do that. We've got 150 colleagues as well that take our flu vaccinations on site annually. Again, it's something else that helps our people. You know, the way they look at it, for some of them, they may be at their work, that might help with their absenteeism. That might be one of the factors. But again, that's really well received by our people. Now, we've done quite a lot of guest speakers. So we've had oddballs, we've had breast cancer, dementia, sepsis, we've had sleep specialists, healthy heart, because we had 3 colleagues who had heart attacks. So we thought, what else can we do? Suicide awareness, and we've had Andy's Man Club. So that's a suicide prevention charity, which again is throughout the whole UK. So that could be something. A lot of these things are free. So you could be saying to your business as part of your overall strategy and somebody's objective to say, I'm actually going to go and arrange one of these sessions. You could have maybe one of the managers will arrange Andy's Man Club, for example. Then it's a start, isn't it? We have also had Money Advice Scotland. We work closely with Grocery Aid. Now, Grocery Aid is a charity, so I'm sure many of you on the call will already know about Grocery Aid, but if you don't and you want more information, I can let you know. I've actually just joined their welfare committee, and they help. They've helped lots of our colleagues. Actually, 57% of our colleagues have used Grocery Aid in one form or another. Now, again, that is free. They do look for you to do a bit of fundraising for them, but they're all about raising awareness. They want to really help people. So if you don't know about Grocery Aid and you want to know more, please let me know. We've had some upcoming things. We've got autism awareness, some smoking cessation. Next week on the Women in Wholesale, we have menopause and nutrition, building resilience, gambling awareness, and skin cancer. So we've got quite a lot of things going in our calendar. If you can't do this straight away, this is taking time for us. Even if you're doing one thing every other month, or even 2 things a year, it's a start. But you'll start to see that colleagues really value it. What we tend to do is we look at our interventions and we see what we think there's a gap in. Now, if you join our or you're part of the Women in Wholesale Wellness group, we do the same there. So we'll go around the group and we'll say, is there anything anybody wants to upskill on? And if they do, we would then arrange a session. So, for example, next week is menopause and nutrition, because that's what the group have said. So, yeah, I can see, Elliot, you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, we just have a question. How can people access the course to recognise stress in others?
Yeah, there's several. I can send a link out. There's several of them. There's some that are actually free as well. If you want, I can send that link. I can get whoever that is, Elle, if you could take a record of that.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take a note of that. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so we've got two different approaches, formal and informal. So before I do that, I'm going to let you hear this. If it works, hopefully it does.
Yep. Oh, there's no sound.
No sound?
Yeah, no sound.
That now? No?
I can't hear it on my side. I tell you what, why don't you share the link in the chat box and we can all just watch it?
Yeah. Hold on a wee second. Hold on. See, I need to come out of this Teams thing, Alec, because I can't get back on this. It's not as easy. Hold on a wee second. Do you have my slides there? Could you share it in the chat box?
Yeah, just one moment.
Thank you.
There's a icon that says share on the top right.
Yeah.
Just paste that into the chat box.
I'll try and go in the chat box. I've closed everything down. Hold on. Here we are. That's better. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So we'll all take a minute to look at that.
Okay.
I have a dear, dear friend who's going through a very hard time, my friend Maria. And went to her house for dinner, and she was telling me this awful time she went through. And I wanted to be sympathetic, but at the same time, I was really pissed off that she didn't call me. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm here. I love you. I support you. Like, you're always there for me. Why wouldn't you let me be there for you? Like, how selfish are you? Like, you wouldn't let me be there for you. She did. She says to me, I did. I reached out to you a number of times. And I look at my phone, like the text. She goes, want to come over? I'm like, how the hell do I know that that's a cry for help versus every other time you ask me over, which sounds exactly the same? And so she read an article that says that when somebody's struggling, all they need is 8 minutes of help or support from a friend to get them back on track. And so we came up with a code. We write to each other, do you have 8 minutes? It means I need you. And anybody can step out of a meeting for 8 minutes to be there for a friend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Apologies for the technical. I'm not the best at that side of things, and I never thought there would be an issue with the sound. Thank you to the person that's put in the comment how to fix that. Hopefully we can look at that for next time. So I'm happy to share our calendar for anybody. I know for a lot of businesses you'll have this anyway now, but what we've actually done is we've combined our calendar with our D&I. So I'm actually on the group for diversity and inclusion in our business as well, but Sue is the lead for it in Filshill, and we've now joined the calendar, so it's also so it's diversity, inclusion, and wellbeing. So you can have a look at that and see exactly the things that we do each month and what the focus areas are. And on the D&I, it was interesting. Again, this is something you could take back by doing a survey. Ask what your colleagues want. Do they want more on wellbeing? Do they want to start on wellbeing? Where are you at? What do they want to see? So we actually had a diversity and inclusion questionnaire, and we had a consultant come in and do that, but they focused very heavily, interestingly, on wellbeing, which I wasn't expecting, if I'm honest, at the time. I thought it would be maybe a small part, but it was a big part. And actually, interestingly, you can't please everyone, but 186 people completed that questionnaire, and 100% of the participants said that Filshill were trying their best when it came to wellbeing, which I thought was amazing. But actually 76% have said that they believe that wellbeing has helped them in the workplace in one way or another, which we were really proud of these statistics. So again, it's about listening to your colleagues. What do they want? Do they want more on wellbeing? Do they want more in diversity and inclusion? Do they want more in stress management? Do they want a course on that? Do they want suicide awareness? What do they want? We certainly, as I say, we look at interventions, and sadly, we had a colleague complete suicide 2 years ago in October, and it really rocked our business. We had already started in our wellbeing programme, and we hadn't picked up on the signs because this is somebody that, you know, we couldn't have picked up on it, and it really affected us all. So our colleagues since that have all went on a suicide awareness from our wellbeing team, suicide awareness training. And again, our management are bought into that, which I'm going to come to at the end to give you some tips on what I think we can do next. But it just shows you, if you look at what your people are wanting and how it's affecting them, it can really affect your overall business. Anyway, so not everyone will be open, as you could see from that video. Now, our CEO, Simon, sent me that and said, I think that's really powerful, Amanda, and I think going forward, we should use that. You know, I need 8 minutes. If you need 8 minutes, you can stop out of a meeting. You need to be there, not just for your friends, but for your colleagues as well. If somebody needs it and they don't want to say it, they might say, I need 8 minutes. So we're going to roll that out in our business. I actually tried it in one of the meetings I was at, and we shared it, and people pretty liked it. Anybody that wants to follow the gentleman on that video, he's really good. He does a lot of stuff on wellbeing as well. But we need to try and tap into everybody and encourage people to come forward. Not everybody will, and we will not get that, but you're reducing the stigma. We're seeing more people. We had someone, for example, 3 years we've been running our wellbeing, and we knew that the person needed support. We tried to, but we can't make people come forward. We've tried though. We've tried to be open and how are you, all the things that you do. But 3 years on, they've came and got support, and they're finally on their journey to being better for their health and their well-being. So for us, that was a big step forward, but that took 3 years. So it just depends. So corridor conversations, how are you? The power of just talking to people. That's informal, obviously. We have one of our colleagues in HR suggested a suggestion box. Now, we tried them before and they hadn't worked, but it doesn't mean you don't try them again. But we did try them again, and now we're getting a few people putting information in there, which is great. We do have a telephone confidential line and a confidential email address. Our wellbeing team, they've all got their responsibilities. We've got formal 30 of them, all ages and stages in the business. And as I said, our calendar links in well. We've got 6 key elements. We will be reviewing our key elements at the end of this year because we may want to switch some up. I don't think there'll be much of a change. And we do have 6 cancer support ambassadors, and we've had 7 interventions of support. Now, we talk a lot about sharing best practice. Now, on the wellbeing group for women in wholesale, one of the colleagues on there had said that they'd done that in their business, so that's where we get the idea. And it's about what not to say sometimes when you've got someone with cancer or a family member, but certainly the people that have been supported have felt very supported, and I'm really proud of the people that have taken that training. Now, it's through cancer.org if anybody's interested. Again, I can share that with you. Now, that could be something that somebody's been off work and you want to support them back to work, and you've got a cancer ambassador, and you could say to your seniors, you know, we've got people trained that can support them. It's getting them back to work, but it's also supporting the colleague, which is the foremost important thing. Next slide. Okay, so our 6 key elements: sleep, exercise, meaningful activity, social connection, helping others, and stress management. So you see stress management is on there. Sleep's a big one. So we've tried lots of different things with sleep. And a lot of things, again, are free. So you can look on for free courses on sleep. There's lots of apps you can use. Again, they are free. We had a sleep specialist do a chat with our colleagues. For a few it helped, but with others that just wasn't helping. So we actually, again, we went to our seniors and put a case together to say, look, we've tried all of this. We believe that we can really help our people by doing this. And we've got a sleep coach. So they've coached 4 people in the business and given them a personalised plan. Again, it wasn't overly expensive, but again, the value that that's added to them, how they feel as an individual coming to their work, but how they feel in general about, you know, giving them coping mechanisms to sleep better. Now, it might not help everyone, but it's something to think about. We do a lot of events and things, exercise, I'll come on to the next slide. And that social connection, people are still very lonely. Now, you can think, but you're only coming to work, we can't do everything for everyone. And we can, but see where we can, I believe, and Filshill believe we should. So, and helping others is just really well top of our agenda. Okay. So, for example, I've said about our sleep specialists, our one-to-one coaching. We've even done martial arts classes because a few of our colleagues felt as though they weren't safe and there had been issues in the local area. Again, relaxation gardens, playlists, these are all free. The mindfulness course, you can get a lot of these free as well. So if there's a list of things that people would like me to share, I'm happy to do it. We have a colleague who has trained in Reiki and hypnotherapy, and that colleague offers that to our colleagues as well, which is just really relaxing. Again, it's not for everyone, but it's there. Okay, I'll just go down a wee bit more. We've got our Grocery Aid ambassadors, so we've got 4 of them. So again, if you don't know about Grocery Aid, you need to know about it because it's such a good, they provide financial, emotional and practical support, and it's free, but it's also not just for you, it's also for your family members. And honest, as I say, 57% of our colleagues have used Grocery Aid. But again, if you don't know about them, find out about them. And if you need anything from me, I can certainly help. Elliot, yeah, I can see your hands up there.
Yeah, it would be really good to know what everyone else is doing that's working.
Yeah.
Like, obviously everyone's joined today because they probably want to hear some new ideas, but there might be things that people are already doing that's working.
Yeah.
It would be great to have some different perspectives.
Yeah. Want to put it in the chat, or does anybody want to just, if you want to put hands up? Yeah, I'll just come on my way. Yeah.
Like to share how their business is. Or maybe we're just all tuning in to hear from you, Amanda.
No, I don't know about that. But if anybody's got anything, I know there's a few people on the call that are doing great things in their business, so it'd be really good to share some of them. I know quite a few names on here, so please share. As we say, sharing best practice is the best thing when it comes to wellbeing, I think.
Well, we'll just keep moving on.
You keep an eye on that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it.
We've also got Resilience Gym. So we're using Mighty Mind. Trina from Mighty Mind, who is doing one-to-one resilience again. This is buy-in. It depends if you're just starting your journey. You're not going to, perhaps you might, I don't think you're going to jump right into that if you're trying to get managers engaged. But this is us 3 years down the line. We're looking at how we can constantly improve. And I think if your business is forward thinking and they're wanting to be, that's the sort of things that you could suggest to your management as well. Our key learnings, and then I'll talk about what we're going to do going forward, and then we'll open it for questioning. Regular check-ins are important because they might say fine one day, but one day they might actually say how they're feeling. So it's about reducing that stigma. And we give that example of one of our colleagues that took them 3 years, but eventually.
Great idea.
Intervention types and signposting is really important as well, because what might be right for me might not be right for Elliot, for example. And we need to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And that's why you do need training of some kind. Now, mental health first aid is excellent, but if your business don't want to do that first, they might want to do managers trained in mental health, or they might want to do some sort of spotting the signs for mental health or stress management. And it does give you a starting point. You could then say, we've had so much traction on that, and this is how many people we've helped, keeping it all confidential, of course. And then you could then go back to your business leaders and say, we want to do more now. It just really depends how you build it. But I do believe that putting it in your strategy is the best thing, because then everybody's working on it and it's not just one person. So at the start, we were all over the place. Everybody was so interested. Now, when I first joined 3 years ago, we had managers trained in mental health, but the feeling was that it wasn't something we thought would take off. Now, I spoke to our CEO, Simon, and I said, I think this will be our next big thing in the world. And I really think it's already there, but we're not tapping into it enough. Now, I didn't come from a wellbeing background. It was just safety. But I always thought health and safety it is the mind as well. And it closely links with HR, it closely links with diversity. So you need to be working together on it. However, we reached out, and the interest we got, which then told us, again, if we're listening to our people, they wanted it. So straight away, all these people signed up, and I thought, how do we choose these? And Simon said, let's just get them all trained and we'll take it from there. But with that came with some issues because everybody was so engaged. We all wanted to try and do everything, and it was too difficult. So that don't boil the ocean is a really important one, because everybody was so engaged, so interested, and it became a bit overwhelming, if I'm honest, at the start. So it's something to think about. That's why in the strategy, it's a bit of structure on it. You can say, well, in that month, I'm going to work on this. In that quarter, Elliot's working on that. And it comes together nicely. If anybody wants me to go over our strategy at Filshill, because I'm going to come on to what Simon's offering as well next, I'm more than happy to do that. But what you've also got to remember is the vicarious trauma of your mental health first aiders and anyone that's supporting. Now, it was really brave. Two of our mental health first aiders said, Amanda, I'm really struggling. I was struggling with what I'm hearing. I mean, some of the things we deal with, sexual abuse, domestic abuse, bereavement, suicide, the list goes on. And they were struggling with some of the things that people had shared. Now, you only signpost them for help, but they still talk to you. And they were struggling. So we put in training for our colleagues. Again, it was very reasonably priced, but you can't forget about your mental health first aiders. And that's something your seniors do need to know, because again, you go back to that stress management risk assessment, that's in ours. So it's in ours to look after our mental health first aiders as well. So it's just something else to think about. But our structure can be informal as well. So we are more relaxed, but we don't record things. The only time that we need to make people aware of anything is if there's a risk to person or a risk to the business. And that's something you learn in the training. And we are really proud of what we're doing, but we know we still need to keep going and sharing best practice. As I say, that group that we're in is excellent, and in the business, people have ideas and we've got to listen to others. But just before I go on to talk about next steps, Ellen, I see your hands up.
Yeah, we've got some questions actually. So first one is some examples as well of what other people are doing. So someone has said that they have GP visits on site with questionnaires on depression and anxiety, as well as general health checks. That's quite interesting. Also, so someone's saying it's great to see that you have found so much that's available that's free, but how do you communicate that with your team?
Okay, so we've got a great HR team, and what they do is we felt we communicated really well, but our people kept saying, we need more. Then we'd put it on our portal, we'd put it on our notice boards, but not everybody reads them. So what we've now done is we communicate on a core brief, we call it. So we've got communication every Thursday goes out to colleagues, and they need to communicate it to their teams. We've also got a TV screen with any key messages that we want to share out, and it's in the canteen, and it just goes round the bottom of the banner. So they still get to watch the TV, but at the bottom, the stuff goes on it. So again, you might not want to say, I'm interested in going and hearing more about that, but actually, I take a wee note of that and I'll phone it, and it's actually pretty good. So that's just new, the TV, putting that at the bottom. But again, that came from one of our listening groups where the colleagues said, actually, that would be a much better way to do it, because we know you do all this communication, but sometimes it's better just that nobody knows I'm interested. I'd prefer to see it on that screen. So again, it goes back to that point. You need to think of what's best for different people. Yeah.
Someone else has said that they do walks with the team at lunchtime. I think that's a brilliant idea, actually. We don't work near a nice high street or with lots of restaurants or anything. We work in the middle of an industrial big estate with the M25. So it's really important to get out, and that's a great suggestion. Tracy is saying, how do you encourage colleagues to take up the opportunity of having regular check-ins? These are important and not just about work. It helps us to support them.
Yeah. So how we do it is, so again, if you take Ella, I would say I can spot signs with Ella, or even just, how are you? And I've maybe not spotted any signs at this point. We actually spoke about this earlier. She might just be having a bad day that day, but say I see that again the next day, and I'll say, if you want a chat, I'm here for you. If you want a chat, you want in 2 minutes, or we can say if you want the 8 minutes, we're going to do that. But say we've not done that yet, we would say, are you sure you're okay? Do you want to come for a chat? Now, some people will say no, but some will say, yeah, that would be good. But what we do, we communicate that we do these check-ins. So we say, here's the list of mental health first aiders who are trained. You can pick who you like. Now, that comes with its challenges, because Our commitment as part of our programme, and it comes from our seniors, is that comes first. So say we're behind the picking and they want the picking person. We still will be behind the picking, because that picking person will get to come and speak to the mental health first aider. The person that's at the needs intervention. They come first, they get to pick who they want, all ages and stages, because you might not want to go and speak to your manager about a certain issue that you're having at home, for example. You might want to speak to a female, a male, or whatever. So we just need to be careful that you have the amount of people in ages and stages. Now, you might not be able to do that. You might not be able to have 2 people, as long as they've got somebody. But also as well, we say if you don't want to speak, we've got our suggestion boxes. We've got the grocery aid number that you can phone. As a business, we've also got counselling that we provide. But again, that's further down the line. But the initial chat, it would be more trying to break down the barrier, Tracy, and saying, look, I'm here if you want. And I've found a few people who'll come and meet, but they don't do anything. So they won't go and phone a lot of businesses, what will happen, they'll do their intervention and they'll sit down with the person and say, if you go to a certain charity, so say Crisis or Hope, and they say go to these 2 charities, the next time I speak to them, they've perhaps not done it yet. Now, some businesses will not do that second thing, and that's okay, because by training, you only need to speak to them once and signpost them. What we tend to do, and again, it takes up more time in the business, but it feels the right thing to do, is that we'll do another check with them and ask how they are. How have you got on? I don't want to know your business, but I want to know, have you managed to phone? How are you getting on? I had a lady who it took 6 months, who I'd been speaking with her. Now on reflection, I think that's too long for me to have been talking to her every week or every 2 weeks. But she finally did it, and now she's got the support she needs. But that was a gut feel with me that I couldn't walk away. Now I kind of look at it a bit differently and try and encourage them. But there's some people that will just not phone, but they'll want that chat. They'll just not do that next step. And that can be difficult. That can be a challenge. And it just really depends on the scenario. But the more you offer it, you give them the list, you're very transparent, and you don't let them down. So I'm too busy. Sorry, can I see you tomorrow? Now, that we can't do that. You've got to prioritise it. We had a situation just last week where somebody came forward with something pretty serious, and it took them quite a bit of time to be open and honest about it. It was a serious issue they had. The person had something really important in buying to do, but they went, you know what, I'll just need to wait just now, and I'll make sure I catch up with that, and I'll explain it, because this is more important. And that culture has changed, because before it's a hard balance, because at the end of the day, we still need to make sure our customers are happy as well. But that's just our commitment to wellbeing, and we're pretty proud that we try and do that. Thanks, Ella. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so following on from today, I was speaking to our CEO, and unfortunately, I thought it was quite nice if he could have joined, but he's actually got another commitment. He's heavily involved, which is pretty good from our perspective. However, what he suggested is that I speak to Steph. Steph works for one of the media agencies. A lot of you'll probably know her. And he will do an article with her on how to get a buy-in from leadership, and how the struggles for people and how it can improve your business from a CEO's perspective. So we're going to set that up. But what he's also suggested, if anybody on this call has got an issue with getting buy-in or just wants a chat, you can have a chat with me if it's just generally all about the wellbeing. But if you want a more punching, how can you go as being a CEO's perspective, he's happy to have a dial-in with any of you on the call, individually or whatever. He's happy to do it and talk you through how he thinks you can approach that in the workplace. So that offer's there from Simon, our CEO. So he has spoken to 2 people in our wellbeing group, and gave them tips. One of them has now got a wellbeing programme in place. So it shows you, I'm not saying Simon will save the day or anything like that, but he can influence, because he can see it from a CEO's perspective. So if that helps any of you, I'm more than happy to sort that out. All right. Ella, if we get any questions now, if you want to put any in the chat, or if you've got any questions, Ella.
No, just this is absolutely amazing. Someone has been offered 30-minute holistic therapy sessions for wellbeing in the workplace, massages, reflexology, Reiki. What an incredible thing to offer your colleagues.
It's amazing, yeah. So
But
if
no
anybody got any
questions.
questions? Don't be shy. Anybody get any questions? Ella, have you got any?
Do you know what? I would love to. I mean, I don't want to put anyone under pressure to talk if they don't want to, but can I ask Sarah to share a bit more about those GP visits on site? Because I think that's really interesting. Only if you were willing to share, Sarah. Sarah Heslop.
Are you wanting to maybe stop the recording just now, Ella, in case
Yeah,
people
I
want
can
to
do
then?
that.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm not hearing back from Sarah, and I'm not sure how to pause the recording. So let's just keep going forward. And Sarah, if you are able to, let's share more at the end. You're on mute.
Yeah. Sarah, come
Okay.
on.
Let's have a go. Hang on. Let's unmute you. Not quite sure how to do that, so we'll just keep moving forward.
Does anybody have any best practices and who would be confident sharing and how they've engaged with their management about wellbeing, or want to talk about their stress risk assessment or anything that you think would be good for the group? Even if you're not comfortable talking, if you want to put it in the chat, that would be good. I've had a wee look through the questions there, Ella, as well, and it's really good. People have put in their numbers as well, and I think that's a good way to think about things. You know, how you're feeling is so important as well, and it's a good check-in with yourself. How are you feeling today? There's much more you can do on that when you start looking at the different approaches to resilience as well, but I'm not going to all that just now. But any other questions at all?
Michelle is asking, how do you measure success?
So I suppose for us, the amount of interventions that we've had, our listening group feedback, our feedback from our survey, and our improvement in absence and retention, and generally the feel about the business. So we are doing a lot of engagement with colleagues just now, like really ramping that up, and we're getting round, and people seem generally happier and supported. Even though we're in a cost of living crisis, they are still feeling that if there's something, we will look at it. We might not be able to do everything, but we consider it. But we look at these figures and think, you know, if 100% of our colleagues out of 186 out of 240 think that we're doing our best, 186 filled in the questionnaire, that 100% think we're doing our best for wellbeing, that for us is great. And 76% have said they've used it in one way or another. That tells us a really powerful message. But also the amount of interventions. I sometimes look at it and think, we've got people come back for their family as well, and they must trust us. It can be challenging. I'm not saying it's an easy process, but 3 years down the line now, it's like, what more can we do? How more can we support our people? And that's why we are very early stages in the D&I journey. So, for example, the week after next, we've got the Hope charity coming in for autism, and they're coming in to do a chat with their colleagues. We've actually got somebody with autism coming in to do the chat, and how they felt in the workplace not being supported. So that'll be really powerful. And if that helps one person, then that's great. And we've also been looking at, through Dyslexia Scotland, we've had one colleague come forward saying they've struggled all their career. They felt they had dyslexia and perhaps ADHD and maybe something else that they weren't sure of. And we supported them with their testing. And they're now overjoyed that they have got a diagnosis, but nothing really has to change in work, because do you know what? The control measures are fine, but they feel so supported. But that's above and beyond, I think. But that's the sort of realms we're trying to get into. But if we've got happy colleagues, it's more productive, we think. And it's the right thing to do in line with our values. And again, where does wellbeing sit in your values? So we're looking at that. So I actually spoke to one of our directors the other day, and I think we need to have something more about doing the right things. One of Filshill's about values, but I think we need to have a wellbeing element into that. So that's something we're going to look at as well. So going back to the question, we look at some of our figures, we look at our colleagues, what they tell us. We're not complacent, because we know we still need to work on things. And I love sharing best practice. I love the meetings when we get together. And if you've not been on the Women in Wholesale one, the wellness group, you're more than welcome to join. It's a nice group. we sit, and I think one of the last ones, I think Tracy's definitely on, and it was just really nice. We were able to sit and talk about how we were feeling as well, and we felt so supported. So you're welcome to join that as well. Any more questions there, Elliot? I can't see any.
I was wondering, whose responsibility is wellness? Because if you don't have a wellbeing manager or a wellbeing team, who is it a bit tricky? Because someone might feel passionately about it, but they don't want to step on the toes of HR, for example.
Yeah.
They don't want to make senior managers feel like they're not doing, where does it fit?
Well, that's an interesting one. I think it's very close with HR. But when I started, it wasn't, it was, the interest on it was, do we want to have a wellbeing champion? And I was interested and asked to do it. But I looked at it from the health side, because healthy mind. And for a lot of businesses, they're going down that route. They say your health and safety, but some people don't have a health and safety. I think the responsibility of wellbeing is everybody in the business. And I think having that in your structure and having it in your strategy, that everybody has an objective on wellbeing, because not one person can do it all. And I think if you get more people interested, the better, because they can support each other. And then if you've got your groups of who's doing what, I think you'll be surprised. But again, it comes down about the amount of people that are interested in your business. If you've not already looked at it, you'll get a lot of people who will be interested. Certainly our team who meet, they're so committed. They really want to help people, and it shines through. But I think it is tricky. I think sometimes, because you don't want to overstep the mark with anybody. And I think just including people is important, and saying, look, can we talk about this? Can we talk about that? But obviously you need to be careful with confidentiality. So it's a tricky one. Obviously for our business, my role got changed so that wellbeing was something that I looked at. But yeah, I think the many people on it, the better. And I think that it's everybody's responsibility, would be my view on it. But a lot of businesses are going down the health and safety person doing it, or HR, but both.
Tammy says that her organisation has a colleague EAP offer as well as a 24-hour GP. So they've got lots of things going on, but the challenge is, how do you get employees engaged in it all? I guess you can have the best platform in the world, but connecting your people to that platform, some people might feel like actually they're not going to understand me. Like, there's a counsellor on a platform and I don't even know them. Why would I tell them? So is there an in-between that?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we thought was both cathartic and good to communicate out is, see a good news story on that. Doesn't have to say the name or whoever, do a blog. So we've done a few blogs where somebody's used that service, Tammy, and thought, that was good. And if they want to share it anonymously, we always encourage anonymously. Then they do a blog on it and we share it to colleagues and they go, oh, and okay, I might try that. Or we communicate out, this is what's available, this is what you can do, and the more you do it, you might get no interest at the start. Now, as I say, a lot of people, it's a bit reducing that stigma, but I think if you get if somebody that's used it and it's helped them, it's how you communicate that if they're happy with it anonymously. But the blogs I found really powerful. We've not done one for a while, which makes me think we could probably do that again soon, but we used to be pretty good with our blogs. But it was something that our colleagues quite liked. Again, they're all anonymous.
That's a brilliant idea, actually. So raising awareness of the tools and resources through internal, newsletters and blogs.
Yeah, I've actually had a colleague who, their family member, it's a youth person, so it's a younger person. They're wanting to go on with a group of other younger people in our business and talk about the mental health support they've received, and they want to encourage others of that age category. Grocery do a thing called Couth, which is a chat room. It's all monitored and everything. It's all safe. But again, that's free, and that's for people, I think it's under 21, and they can go on that. We had a colleague who used that as well. So I think what we'll do is, that person, how brave is that they've come forward and said, told their parent, I'd like to maybe get in touch with other people in Filshill and let them know my experience. I want to tell them my story, because I think if they knew that was there, they may come forward. And I thought that was really brave of them, and that's something we're going to be looking at, and that the possible with that. But Couth, we had a colleague who they'd went to their doctor. It was through just after, maybe near the end of the COVID pandemic, and they didn't have any friends. So they'd no friends, they stayed in their room the whole time. The parent was so upset about it, and was saying to us, I don't know what to do. And you could really see the pressure on the parent. So one of our mental health first aiders signposted them to Cuth. Now what happened here is they built up trust. They didn't want to go on it at first, but the parent didn't put pressure on them. But eventually they went onto this platform and they got befriended people. And one of the people they met up a year later, and now they're really good friends. And for me, honestly, see the parent, he's like, I can't believe I've made a friend. It's really helped their anxiety. It's helped how they're really feeling. And they've made a friend through that portal. So I'm not saying everybody will make a friend, but you've got to look at what's right for everybody and what's out there. But that's a free resource as well, and that's through Grocery Cuth for youth as well. So it's just something to think about. Yeah. Any other questions, Ella?
Fantastic. Thanks, Amanda. No more questions from me. Any more questions from anyone else? We will circulate the recording and all the questions and links, and maybe connect with Simon as well after this session.
Yeah, and as I say, look out for that article. It'll be on Wholesale News with, as I say, Simon will put his spin on how he thinks that you can engage with senior leaders, being one himself. But if anybody wants a one-to-one with Simon, just reach out to me and let me know, or go through Ella and let me know, and I'll get that sorted for you. And that's a 100% commitment from myself and Simon. Okay.
That's unbelievable. Thank you so much, Amanda and Filshill and Simon. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll circulate this afterwards, and have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.